Hello, everybody, on this happy Wednesday. So excited today to be joined by Bertie, who is the CEO and co-founder of Dynamic Nutrition Academy and an absolute expert on testosterone health. Welcome, Bertie. Tell us about you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me and giving a platform to talk about testosterone, which I could do all day long. So I'm Bertie. I am co-founder and CEO of Dynamic Nutrition Academy. We are a natural hormonal health company with the world's first range of natural supplements to help men and women with low testosterone. I'm a naturopathic nutritionist trained at the College of Natural Medicine in London, and I'm a science geek, self-confessed. So I think that's fine to say that. And it's really kind of great topical time to come on, because you cannot now, after me talking about testosterone to my friends for 5 years, it now seems to be the buzzword, and you can't kind of open the news or go through Instagram without women, actually, strangely more than men now, talking about testosterone, which is amazing. But also for me, it kind of also shines a light on that there's still a stigma attached to male hormonal health issues because of the rapid destigmatization of women's, which you know about because you deal with, obviously, with menopause in the workplace.
No, absolutely. And I really want to dive into the whole subject of testosterone, the reason for its importance now. But just give me a bit on the why you set this company up, a bit of the background on you and the motivation, the why.
Yeah, I think like most kind of startups, or certainly kind of mission-based and purpose-led ones like ours, they come from a place of need. And, you know, we're going back probably 2017, 2018. My husband, Sheldon, who is my co-founder, was just turning 40. He is a fitness expert, a trainer, someone that's really into the gym, martial arts, everything kind of outdoorsy and adrenaline fueled. And he was just really, really struggling with mood, which wrongly got misdiagnosed as depression, which is actually really interesting because early on in menopause, women would go to the doctors and they would talk about low mood. They would be given antidepressants. It's the quick fix for everything. But, you know, he knew he wasn't depressed. He just really kind of started lacking a zest for life. Now, I was working in my own clinic, at the same time, used to dealing with seeing perimenopausal, menopausal women. The symptoms are actually almost identical. But I started to see men coming in, complaining of exactly the same issues that Sheldon had got. And, you know, we're not talking about older guys, 50, 60, 70 plus. We're talking about young guys in the prime of their life, wondering why they feel like this. And I think it's really difficult for men because we are brought up as women from an early age. We've got periods, we have to talk about them. That subject's out in the open. You know, we have pregnancy, we have the pill, we have everything in between, endometriosis, polycystic ovaries, you name it. We're just given the cultural benefit most of the time of being able to talk about this. But men would never sit down in the pub and chat about testosterone unless they were actually talking about the anabolic steroid testosterone. So when I actually ended up functionally testing these guys, and I also functionally tested Sheldon, every single one of them, testosterone levels were on the floor. And they said, we want to do something naturally. Testosterone replacement therapy is kind of, in my opinion, where HRT was 15, 20 years ago. Still a lot of gray areas. Research needs to be done. If you're on it, it removes your own natural production. And I'm kind of, being a functional medicine person from Hippocrates, do no harm, deal with root cause. I like to get to the bottom of what's going on here. You know, how can we look at something longer term, disease prevention wise? And the guys that I was seeing were the same. They don't want to become infertile from TRT or go on a lifelong treatment, start taking prescriptions. And I thought there must be so many products out there that kind of, you know, helped men with this. And I was appalled. What was on the market for men to help natural hormone production was shocking. It's really badly regulated, which I feel incredibly strongly about. It's full of stupid marketing claims that all are about sex and muscles. That drives me nuts as well. Testosterone is required for sex and muscles, but it's so much more than that. And I don't feel the narrative has moved on from the 80s about testosterone until recently. And so I just thought, this is terrible. They were all one size fits all, assuming that testosterone in your 30s is the same as in your 70s. It's not. And also they were all in pill or capsule format, which I know as a naturopath and studying the gut, that you're lucky to get 30 to 40% absorption from. So that's it. We were like, literally, we're going to do better. So we looked at, for 2 years, we did R&D, looked at every single product out there, looked at formats. We went into powders. We're the first people in the world to have testosterone supplements that are in powders. And we have the world's age-specific range. So guys in their 20s have got different pain points than guys in their 50s. So we had a product that helped men through each stage of testosterone decline. And that's how DNA was born. Sheldon is the lead of our Silverback product, which is for guys in their 40s who may have andropause symptoms. It's now 1 in 4, 45% of men over 40. So, and it's kind of, since then, since we launched a couple of years ago, things in the testosterone world have moved really rapidly. And I genuinely feel the tide has turned. And now, particularly on the female side of things, because they're noisier and there's less stigma, it's a subject that's being dug into, which is obviously music to my ears.
No, absolutely. And so what do we need to know about testosterone rates? Because I know you've shared with me before some really surprising statistics around this.
Yeah, I think, I just don't think that all the data is there. You can find it literally, Google right now, you'll find it, but it just doesn't seem to get talked about. The testosterone levels alongside sperm levels have gone hand in hand, declined at 50% over 50 years. Wow. Now, sperm gets talked about more because, let's be honest, you find out you've got a problem because you can't have a baby and you deal with it. Testosterone, much harder to put your finger on whether or not that's the problem, and most people don't think about it. Now that speed that decline is accelerating, and that is because of lifestyles, in particular the diabetes crisis, and environmental toxins. And if we don't start having rapid interventions now, I mean, they call it, if you look with men, they call testosterone deficiency the silent epidemic. And it honestly is. And it really, not only is it causing health problems right here and now, and the COVID showed us that, men with low testosterone, particularly older men, were 6 times more likely to die. And it was explaining why older men were out, their mortality rates were 2 to 3 times what women's were. So if that isn't a kind of wake up and smell the coffee moment for people that testosterone isn't about sex and muscles, I genuinely don't know what is.
Yeah, no, that is a huge wake up call. And those numbers are massive. But, the narrative may be changing in terms of testosterone for men and women. But actually, how do we help people identify when it's happening to them, or how to tune into them, or how to know when to take steps for themselves to be able to get help in this space?
That's a great question. And I actually feel that women are absolutely pivotal to this. When we talk to women about our men's products, they just get it. There's a shorthand. If you describe 3 or 4 symptoms of low testosterone, low mood, low energy, fatigue, lack of libido, kind of lost a bit of zest for life, they're like, that's my husband. Sign me up. Where do I need to go? And it's because they recognize that if they have challenges with their own hormones, why would their partner not? And I think because we know men are reluctant to go to the doctor, men are reluctant to talk about any sexual issues or admit they're struggling. And also, I think, sadly, the availability of pharma now online isn't helping either, because there's a kind of disconnect between symptoms and thinking, well, erectile dysfunction, for example, isn't directly usually from a loss of testosterone. Loss of erections or firmness of erections or morning erections is, but it's usually a downward spiral of, I'm too tired, I can't really be bothered. And then, mentally thinking about it's causing the ED. But then they'll just go online and they'll get a prescription for Viagra. Oh, and that's dealt with now. It's not dealt with.
It's the root problem.
Exactly. And sadly as well, a lot of men are reverting to hair loss drugs, which from their 20s, which give them erectile dysfunction. It's a well-known fact. You Google it. I'm not kind of lying about that. And then they take another prescription for the prescription that's given them the side effect. Yeah. So, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to me that pharma is very noisy, very loud, they've got very much deeper pockets than us naturopaths have. Very loud, quick fixes. Sure. And, sadly, I think it's a combination of all those things, men not wanting to talk about it and there being quick fixes seemingly available online.
So tell us a bit about how your product works and how your product supports coming at it from a natural place.
Yeah, so I'll mention women's in a bit, because we didn't mean to go into women's health, but because of the way testosterone is gone.
Let's definitely come on to that, because that links so much into the work we're doing at Ludo on menopause.
Yeah, so the men's is actually looking at what is going on physiologically with them at that point. Now, we work with an amazing doctor called Bernie Willis. He's an absolute legend, been around in functional medicine for kind of 30, 40 years before it was considered cool to be in functional medicine. And we know that there are certain things that can be, certain interventions that can happen, help naturally to balance men's hormones. A lot of men are nutrient deficient. So that's the first thing our products look at. We're the only range of products that has got a core base of 12 vitamins and minerals that many men are deficient in. 90% of the population now has some sort of deficiency. And if you look at something like vitamin D, for example, vitamin D is actually a steroid hormone, is the building block of hormones. So what we do is, coming at it from a functional perspective, if you start down with the roots of the tree, if, for example, other supplement brands give a man just a herb, so one herb in their product that's going to work. If he is not, if he's nutrient deficient, vitamin D deficient, his endocrine system can't make the hormones in the first place for you to try and amplify them. So it's really going back down to scientific and nutrient basics. It's what are the building blocks of hormones? How can we take advantage of those naturally? And then what we do is we layer on 3 to 5 evidence-proven ingredients. We have an ingredient in ours that's patented, that's shown to increase testosterone levels over 12 weeks by 45%, sperm levels, cognitive function. We layer for each age group, understanding what their challenges and goals and aims are, an extra level of nutrient support that is right for their age group. So the younger guys, they may not be feeling the imbalance that the 40 plus men are, but we know performance is really important to them. We know they probably want to make babies and their sperm's got trouble as well. So White Wolf, our younger product, is really aimed at just preventing deficiency before it occurs of testosterone, maxing out your natural production, letting you go hard, play hard, do whatever you want to do. And then Silverback for our guys 40 plus, which is our andropause product, which is the first supplement in the world to acknowledge the andropause, which blows my mind, Elizabeth, in 2022, when, you know, it's a real thing. It's not a made up again, you know, a medical issue. And it simply means, all andropause means is Greek for decline, age-related decline of testosterone. Okay. And it may not be a pivotal moment like it is for us, but it is like perimenopause, a decline of your testosterone. And unfortunately, obesity levels are really, really driving this problem much quicker in men in their 40s, because every extra fat cell you produce, it messes up the conversions of testosterone and estrogen. Some men become estrogen dominant and take on a more feminine form. And we built Silverback with that in mind. There's quite a complex herbs and minerals that try and balance that out and work with your own body. And then our older guys, 55 plus, we call them the legends of longevity, our grey foxes. You know, I'm heading 50 next year. It's the new 30 as far as I'm concerned. You know, at this age, you just want to go for as long as you can. You know,
you
just
absolutely.
Better. It really, I feel testosterone is about healthy aging and disease prevention. Forget the muscles and the, you know, the cognitive function and all the other wonderful things that it enables us to do. If you feel healthy in your mind, you feel young. If you get up in the morning and go and play with your kids, or go and do that 5K you want to do or promised yourself you would, that helps you feel young.
Yeah, so, totally.
That's really the heart of what we do. We want to enable people, and that's also why our brands are playful. The Manimals are playful. We know talking about testosterone isn't sexy or cool, but we ask men, which Manimal are you? Join the Manimal Kingdom. There's fun in a pack. We want people to be the best versions of themselves for as long as possible, and provide. And we're not anti-pharma at all, but we want to provide the many people that don't want to go down that route a really exceptionally good standard of supplements that they can trust, that are evidence-based, with doctors and a holistic way of looking at things. Because since COVID in particular, people want to take control of their own health, don't they?
Totally. No, I agree. Absolutely. And we're seeing that more and more. And so, and how does it take it? It's a powder. So how do you take it?
Powder. So I should add, wait.
I'm holding. We're holding. We're ready.
So I should have been prepared for that.
Don't worry. You can bring it to life for us now.
Yeah, this is Silverback. This is our guys 40 plus. It's just 2 teaspoons of powder. Any of our powders are. This is our female one. You just take it in a drink, and that's also so much more convenient. No more pills that you have to remember or repeat on you. And also you can forget all of those other supplements. If you're taking a multivitamin or a vitamin D or a C, we put them into one product. So and the beauty of powders, and this is why as a naturopath I just love powders, 95% bioavailable. Don't have to go get through the stomach, straight into your bloodstream. And that's one of our fundamentals at DNA. We only make powders, and it's simple as that. You
could jump into a protein shake, couldn't you, after the gym or whatever?
Actually, you know what? We've worked really hard. Functional supplements. There's a really fine line between something tasting functional and something that you actually stomaching, being able to take. We work really hard. Now they're absolutely, you know, they're perfectly pleasant to take. But the important thing is to remember with the guys, testosterone is on a 24-hour production. So it's replaced every night between 10 and 6 o'clock in line with your circadian rhythm. So it requires deep sleep, REM sleep, which is why sleep is so vital for healthy hormones, in particular testosterone. And so that's why we're also a daily drink, because everything you do that day is going to impact your next day's levels. And also a tip out there for the guys is that's also why loss of morning erections is one of the most obvious signs of low T, because you haven't produced enough testosterone overnight. And that's nature's way of saying, it's amazing. I know. So I mean,
I'm learning so much today already. This is brilliant.
Love the science. The body is amazing. It blows my mind. I can't get enough.
The idea that we're talking about morning erections on LinkedIn, quite frankly, that's like making my
I didn't think about that. That might, Well, we're all human, and our men
absolutely.
may appreciate knowing that. Loss of morning erection is a telltale sign that your body isn't replenishing, and it's a sign of low. Consistently, it's a sign of low testosterone.
That's such a good indicator. But I want to make sure we jump onto the women's product before we finish in our last 10 minutes. So I think that this, for me, if I think about the journey we've been on with Ludo and supporting employees with menopause, is that actually the testosterone piece has come relatively late in the outward communication and open chats that women are having about menopause, because it's all been about estrogen and the sort of negativity of suffering from the menopause. We think about our parents' generation, and that deeper understanding is really beginning to come through now. And I've only probably maybe it's because I'm working in this space but I've been hearing the conversation more and more, but I do think it's becoming more prevalent and more out there to talk about the impact of testosterone with women, because women associate it with men.
In the same way that one of the biggest drivers of low T in men is estrogen. We all have hormones.
That's women's hormone, isn't it? Yeah. Or
but
to be.
Women have 10 times as much estradiol in their body, 10 times as much testosterone as estradiol in their bodies. It is the most biologically abundant female hormone, even though we have it in a much lesser amount than men. It's fundamental to memory, to bones, to vitality, mood, libido, but it isn't licensed to use in the UK here on prescription. You can only get it privately, or if you really lobby, bang the doors down. They were working on that. I actually was on a webinar, amazing webinar that Louise Newson's clinic, she's been pivotal in with Davina McCall in raising awareness about testosterone. But sadly at the moment it isn't part of HRT, and acknowledging that, and also acknowledging there's a piece of work that came out with one of our colleagues, Jen M, who do amazing work in this space. They interviewed 2,000 women. Nearly 50% of women never intend to take HRT. So, it's companies like us that, and even we complement our products that won't harm anyone, so they also complement HRT. But there are so many women that actually just don't want to take HRT, even though it's perfectly safe and we've come on so far. And it's really, for companies like ours, it's working out how we can help them best to navigate what we know is with this 10 to 12 years of perimenopause and menopause. Yes. And then even beyond, we don't stop needing nutrients or balance, or, supporting our hormones post. So we made the first brand and natural supplement to help women with the sexual wellness side of the menopause, which testosterone is related to. And we also called it Menoplay because, again, coming back to our foundations, all this doesn't need to be doom and gloom. The more we can understand, the more we can learn, and the more we can empower ourselves to say, you know what, it sucks, but I'm not going to let it suck, more than it has to. I'm going to take control and do things myself. Totally. And that's what we create Menoplay for.
But I do think giving people that ownership, which is one of the things we really push at Ludo, is saying that, we talk about well-being in the workplace. Okay, it's a responsibility in my mind for an employer to pay attention and support employees' wellness, but it is equally the responsibility of the individual to own their own journey. It's a shared journey of well-being. Is you've got to own your own. It's not someone else's responsibility outside of yourself. And I think that's one of the key things that we need to keep in mind. You're
totally right. Because also in the workplace, you've got to understand that every single one of those people's journeys is different. Your perimenopause to my perimenopause, and I know this from all my friends, there's 48 symptoms of perimenopause. Yes. You may overlap on 3, and that's if you know what they are and can identify them and are happy to talk about them. But your experience is going to be really different from mine. So, from your perspective, dealing with the workforce, they can only, having that conversation is important, but it is down to taking responsibility for your own health. And a bit like I was talking about with sleep, if men want to take a prescription for this, a prescription for that, but are 20 Ks overweight, aren't getting any sleep, that isn't helping themselves either. We all need to take some responsibility for our own health. But I do think the information and the power of information and sharing, and most importantly, talking about these things is important. And we're actually launching a new part of DNA later this year called the Academy, which is going to be the first place where all men and women can go and learn about testosterone in men, in women. And we will be sharing kind of short courses and facts
amazing.
about that, which I kind of feel is, people are looking for.
Absolutely. Well, we'll make sure that we share that and promote it out to our Ludo community as we continue working with you. But before we finish up today, for anybody that wants to follow up, learn more, we've got your Instagram on the bottom here, but how else do people get in touch with you, Bertie?
Well, obviously, they now know I'm that person that talks about erections on LinkedIn, which is probably going to haunt me at some point. But I'm all right with it. I'm actually okay with it.
Let's keep doing it.
Anyone that knows me is not going to be in the slightest bit surprised. But you can find us at dynamicnutritionacademy.com, or please, LinkedIn. I love connecting. I love hearing about people's personal journeys, and we're here to help.
Brilliant. And we said a comment pick up from Muslim. So powerful. It really is. This is knowledge that we all need. So thank you so much, Bertie. It's been a total pleasure today.
Thank you for giving us a space. It's really nice. I appreciate it.
Thank you.